love opening 14 of One Piece. We fight together. It's the opening for the post-war arc. It's by far my favorite, not just because of the music, but also because of the amazing visuals. There are a lot of hidden details that you just cannot possibly notice on 1 or 2 watches. So I sat down and watched it a lot of times. I watched it slow, I watched it fast, I watched it inverted, I watched it upside down, I watched it while eating my breakfast. It was all different experiences, okay? And there are a lot of interesting details that I noticed throughout these watches. I'm not really going to be talking about the music too much. I mean, I mention it here and there, but mostly I'm going to be talking about the visuals. If you do enjoy the video, please do subscribe. I'll do more of these videos if you like them. And hey, if you're watching this when it's uploaded, it's my birthday, or it's my birthday tomorrow. I don't really know when I'm going to upload it. But anyway, here is my over-analysis of opening 14 of One Piece. We fight together. The opening begins with the journey of the Straw Hat, starting off with Roger, then going to Shanks, then going to Luffy as a child, then Luffy as an adult, sad after the events of Marineford. It cuts to a clip of the Sunny traveling across the globe. Then the Straw Hats appear one after the other, marching in the order of Luffy, Chopper, Brook, Usopp, Nami, Robin, Zoro, Sanji, and Frankie. I spent so long trying to figure out what this marching order meant, but I don't have a reason. The best I've got is that it's the order that the Straw Hats would laugh at Luffy doing a stupid joke or just doing something in general. But if that was the case, I don't think Nami would be that high. Whatever, everybody's looking so happy, almost as if we're not in one of the most depressing arcs in the entire anime. The Sunny then kudo bursts into the distant horizon, towards the camera, towards brighter futures, hopefully. But no, the Sunny is just left sat idly at the Sabaody archipelago the last time the Straw Hats saw it. The entire scene is shrouded in this dark blue, greeny lighting. Get used to it, because half the opening looks like this. Not to sound like an English teacher, but the dark blue lighting is obviously representing something sad. You know, the Straw Hats may have to give up their dreams. It doesn't matter how hard they've worked to get to where they are. They still got their asses handed to them, and there's nothing that can be done about that. The title card then appears, but interestingly enough, it actually appears with bubbles. You know, the same bubbles that were at the Sabaody archipelago. You know, the same bubbles that each individually popped as each one of the Straw Hats got sent away by Kuma. Yeah, the symbolic nature of these bubbles are also a big part of this opening. As I said, I'm not going to be talking about the actual music too much, but I have to mention it. In this part, it is very sad. You know, the beats is very low. It's not very high energy. Also representative of what the Straw Hats are feeling. We then cut to a shot of the Straw Hat, where Luffy leaves it for the 2 years he's training with Rayleigh. Interestingly enough, you can actually see the scars Buggy left on it back in like episode 10. We then get flashes of the Marineford War. You know, some high points and some very, very low points. Moments we thought that Luffy won, and moments we knew that Luffy had lost. Then, for the first time, we see present-day Luffy. He's looking at the Straw Hat. We have that same dark blue lighting, but around the Straw Hat, there's little bits of light green, showing that the Straw Hat, at its core, represents Luffy's dream to becoming the Pirate King. This shot of Luffy looking at the Straw Hat is a full 5 seconds. What I gather from this, Luffy wants to give up. He wants to just go home, live out his life, and give up on becoming Pirate King. The blue lighting once again symbolizing giving up on your dreams. Luffy then looks at Rayleigh's Vivre card, debating in his mind if he should take this opportunity to go train with the right hand of the Pirate King. The camera then pans directly up into the sky. It's clearly nighttime, but there's no moon, and there's also no sun. Luffy's entire world is out of balance. Some things that should be constants just aren't there anymore. And as we see these brief glimpses of the Straw Hats, the music gets more upbeat. It's more exciting. You know, the Straw Hats, they're training. They don't want to give up. They want Luffy to continue. The first Straw Hat we see is Zoro. He's training with Mihawk, cutting up the bubbles that were at Sabaody Archipelago. He sees that loss as his fault. He thinks that if he was stronger, he could have taken down Kuma and protected the crew. If he wasn't injured, maybe, just maybe, they could have had a chance to escape. We then cut to Nami. She's training with the wind, also with the Sabaody Archipelago bubbles. I'm not sure exactly why they're there for Nami, but I guess a similar reason to why they're there for Zoro. But none of the other Straw Hats have them, so it's interesting. Then we see Usopp. I just wrote in my notes, has to extend his satchel. So there's no need for that. Then we see Chopper reading a book. You know, he's studying up on his doctor materials because he wants to become a better doctor. Then there's Brook, just being musical. And then there's Robin. Something interesting about Robin, though, she's in Tequila Wolf, which is in the East Blue. She's looking to the left of the screen. To the west, she's looking at the Grand Line. Am I overthinking this? I don't know. I don't think it matters, but I think it's a cool detail nonetheless. She wants to get back to Luffy as quick as possible. Frankie is tinkering on some little things, and Sanji is just kicking his way through life. Then we cut to Luffy's childhood. We see Ace and Sabo running through a stream in the forest. In the music, the synths have reappeared, showing that we're shifting our focus back to Luffy. I don't know if I'm using this word correctly, but I think the musical motif is back. The lighting turns to warm summer colors, you know, oranges, reds, greens. Yes, this is what we want out of a One Piece intro. We see Ace and Sabo running ahead of Luffy, leaving him behind. This could be a reference to how they both leave the island before Luffy. You know, Ace leaves it when he's 17, Sabo leaves it on Dragon's ship. They both get to live the lives they want to before Luffy. Story of little Luffy's life? He must wait. Not really important, but little Luffy trips into the water and it made me a bit sad. Then Luffy catches up to the other two. Everybody is smiling. Everybody is having such a good time as they're running through the forest carefree. Sabo and Ace have their trusty weapons at their side just in case something bad could happen. They want to be there to protect Luffy. They are not having another hostage situation. They're all running towards the sunset. Sun god reference? As Luffy tackles them to the ground, we get this aerial shot of the three brothers, reminiscent of the three sake cups. We cut to a clip of the ocean, and Shanks' ship is right out there. The Red Force is right there. All three of them are looking at it, and yet Luffy is the only one with joy in his eyes. Then there's a massive tonal shift. We cut back to the Sunny, stranded in the Sabaody archipelago in the dark blue colors. Straw Hat flag blowing in the wind, waiting for the crew to return. Music also becomes a lot more somber at this stage. It slows down a lot. The next couple of clips are some of the most important moments in each of the Straw Hats' lives. Some being when Luffy asked them to join his crew, or just when they decided to join the crew, or when they needed Luffy the most. For Zoro, it's when him and Luffy just met. Luffy just freed him and he agreed to join his pirate crew. And we see the moment where Zoro solemnly swears that he will never lose again, because if he wants to become one of the wings of the future Pirate King, he has to get stronger. Interestingly, the next person they show is Usopp. Normally they'd be going in order, so Nami would be next, but I guess they just decided to show them in the order that the Straw Hats officially joined the crew. For Usopp, they show Luffy asking him to join the crew. You know, he's ecstatic. Of course, he always wanted to become a pirate. And they also showed the clip of when Usopp motivated Luffy to stand back up and defeat Lucci. Next one up is Sanji, and it's once again Luffy asking him to join the crew. You know, Whole Cake hasn't happened yet, but if it had happened, I'm sure one of those clips would have been in here. Then we get to Nami, and we see that fateful scene at Arlong Park when Nami asks Luffy to help me, please. The moment Nami placed her faith in Monkey D. Luffy, and then she never looked back. They show a lot of moments for Chopper. You know, Luffy standing on the roof, holding Dr. Hiroluke's flag, saying, "See, this is unbreakable." They show Luffy telling Chopper to shut up and join the crew already, saying that who cares if he's a monster, because so am I. For Robin, it's her entire I want to live moment from Enies lobby. Sniper King shooting down the world government flag, Monkey D. Luffy declaring war on the world government just for his Nakama. And Frankie just kind of joined on a whim. You know, Luffy's happy to have him along. He's just kind of hoisting his boxers up in the air. I guess in a way, this is Luffy saving Frankie from continuing his life of crime. I don't know, I'm just kind of trying to make something work here. Then Luffy asking Brook to join the crew, the happiest Brook has been in like 80 years. He finally has some new people to talk to, and not only that, they want to be his friend. Then we cut back to Luffy looking at the Straw Hat in the dark blue lighting. But what's that? The clouds have suddenly parted, and now we're getting into the light greens. He's remembered his friends and their dreams. He's not only doing this journey for himself, he's doing it for them too. The sun slowly shining on Luffy's back as we turn around to see Luffy's face and a mysterious figure standing behind him. Sorry, I lied. It's not that mysterious. Obviously, it's Ace. And Ace does a simple gesture of pushing Luffy forward, telling him, "You idiot, you can't give up on your dream just because I'm dead. You have to continue because I'm dead." Luffy has to accomplish his dream, not just for him, but also for Ace. And with an approving nod, Ace disappears. Then it cuts to a wide shot. Luffy is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and we linger on this shot for a full 5 seconds. The sun is shining from the top right of the screen down to the bottom left, showing that even though Luffy knows he has to continue his dream, he's still in a little bit of doubt. The screen is almost split in two, the right-hand side being the light greens, the sun, everything happy in this world, and the left-hand side being the dark blues, you know, the gloomy days, the, oh, I want to give up on my dreams. But as Luffy's looking at the spot where his brother once was, he slowly turns around. He picks up the Straw Hat, puts it on his head, and for the first time in this opening, present-day Luffy is back to what he was. He's giving us a big smile. We then cut to Luffy walking down a path with bright blue skies. None of that dark blue. Everything is looking up from here. He then gets flashes of his nakama. They appear in reverse order that they join the crew. Brook, Frankie, Robin, Chopper. And as he gets to the East Blue crew, he starts to run. Sanji, Usopp, Nami, Zoro, they're right there. Luffy, just keep running. And right there at the end of his path, his friends are waiting for him along with the Sunny, ready to go on more adventures. And as Luffy gets to them, they all jump high in the sky. And we see Luffy with his signature massive smile. Then the music cuts off, and we get a still shot of the entire crew. In the middle, we have Luffy mimicking Roger's pose along with Roger's signature cape, showing their similarities once again. Luffy is the man who will become king of the pirates. Most of the Straw Hats are in their signature outfits, the outfits they were in when Luffy asked them to join the crew. Robin in her Alabasta fit, Brook in his Thriller Bark fit, Frankie in his Water 7 fit, etc, etc. But Sanji is in his outfit that he wore at the Sabaody Archipelago. You can see because of the green shirt. And Nami is just in a bland yellow shirt with an orange skirt. She never even wore this outfit, but the rest of them are in their normal outfits. Okay, guys, be honest with me. I know I said I was gonna go really in depth, but was that too much? Was I reaching at some points in there? I mean, look, I just mentioned everything I possibly saw. I just love this intro so much. If you want me to do another video just like this one, let me know down in the comments, along with which intro I should do. This is my favorite intro, and I've watched it a lot, so a lot of those details were just sticking out in my mind. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the flippity flop. Good night.